Hi everyone, welcome to the Financial Goondu channel. In my previous video, I talked about the financial freedom formula, which is to have passive income more than expenses. There are many forms of investment to generate passive income. Popular examples are owning a physical property, company stocks that pay dividends, financial products like annuities, and of course, the REITs. For physical property, I see them as leverage for capital appreciation. The rental for it are meant to cover your mortgage. For company stocks, they do not have clear rules on how and when to pay dividends. They can suddenly feel like using the earnings for aggressive expansion instead of feeding you your lunch. And for financial products, their payouts are usually too little or limited. Personally, I choose REITs or specifically Singapore REITs or S-REITs, simply because they are exactly what they are built for. So, what's a REIT? REIT stands for Real Estate Investment Trust. Think of it as a way to invest in real estate, but without buying and managing the properties yourself. Like a landlord collecting rental, but without handling your tenant's request to fix toilet bowl in the middle of the night. Also, they are not your 1 or 3 bedrooms. Instead, they are highly rentable shopping malls, offices, and industrial buildings. Properties that you are very unlikely to own and run by yourself. Okay, but how are they able to do that? First, we have the REIT sponsor, which is the property developer who like to build properties like a nice shopping mall. The REIT want to buy that shopping mall from its sponsor to rent it out for income. To buy that shopping mall, the REIT fund the purchase mainly through two ways: getting loans from banks and selling shares to people like you and me. With the money they got from the banks and shareholders, they purchase the nice shopping mall and rent it out to tenants. The tenants pay their rents, which will then be used to pay the banks and shareholders like you and me. That's it. Passive income for the people. To ensure that is indeed the case, there are even rules to make sure that REIT do what it is supposed to do. Rule 1. 75% income generating assets. Now, at least 75% of a REIT's assets must generate income, like rent from tenants. This ensures the REIT is focused on cash flow, not speculative land deals or empty lots. Rule 2. 90% payout to shareholders. This rule is exactly why you have income from well-run REITs, because they are required to distribute at least 90% of their taxable income as dividends. But that also means they don't have room for aggressive expansion, which makes it boring. That is correct, and boring is very important for passive income. Rule 3. 50% loan threshold. REITs can't borrow more than 50% of their asset value. This keeps their debt in check, but in reality, without this, people like us won't even have the chance to own it. The nice shopping malls will be all funded by banks. These rules make REITs transparent and stable. No wild bets or shady moves. They are built to deliver my income. Okay, so what REITs do I buy for my passive income? As per the title of this video, I buy S-REITs, especially those that owns a large proportion of Singapore properties. Reasons? Firstly, because I'm a Singaporean, I get to see the properties, know the policies, and use the currency that the S-REITs generates. This provides me some insights and also minimize unnecessary risks and fees in currency exchange. Secondly, being in a safe and disaster-free city naturally makes Singapore properties durable investments. Thirdly, there's a hard limit to the land in Singapore. Aside from shopping mall, we actually need land for many other things. From residential to infrastructure to parks, the government has a plan for every plot of land in Singapore. That's why our houses and cars are mostly on lease. 99-year for houses and 10-year for cars. These are second-order effect due to scarcity of land in Singapore. Lastly, despite the leasehold on big purchases, the citizens are rich and willing to lock themselves in debt just for them. Therefore, we still have sky-high private property valuation as well as the most expensive cars in the world. Like if a condo for residential use can worth so much, what do you think a commercial property where money is made will be worth? As a result of such scarcity, durability, and lock-in wealth, this builds an extremely strong valuation foundation for Singapore properties. This is fundamental because Singapore REITs tend to use interest-only loans from banks to squeeze more DPU. Unlike your personal home loan, you do not pay down the principal in interest-only loans. If your property actually drops in valuation, you will not be able to borrow the same amount of money the next time you refinance. Okay, then how do I own a Singapore REITs to get passive income? Well, just like Singapore stocks, you buy shares of a Singapore REIT from SGX. The more shares you own before the REITs periodically pay out cut-off date, the more dividends you get from that periodical payout. This periodical date is known as the ex-dividend date. Typically, there will be 2 or 4 ex-dividend dates in a year. This means that a Singapore REIT pay out dividends every quarterly or half-yearly. For example, you bought a single Singapore REIT share at $2 before the ex-dividend date. The S-REIT announced that the half-yearly distribution per share, also known as DPU, is 6 cents. Congrats! You got a passive income of 6 cents out of your $2 purchase. Let's say you keep that share until the next ex-dividend date and the S-REIT announced a DPU of another 6 cents. You will earn a total of 12 cents for that year from that $2 you purchased. This makes a dividend yield of 6%. Let's say you continue to keep that share and move on with life and nothing really changes in the S-REIT performance, you will continue to get another 12 cents from it the next year. Now, if you save up and build a Singapore REIT portfolio of $200,000 with a 6% dividend yield, that portfolio will generate $12,000 per year. Now that is $1,000 for you every month, enough to cover one person's food and bills. Also, because S-REITs give you real cash periodically, it is one of the few investment vehicles where you can put the magic of compounding to work. In other words, if you are still on the road to achieve financial freedom like me, you can reinvest your dividend to buy more S-REITs. In the words of Albert Einstein, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Sounds good? Yes, but only if this is really the case, where nothing really changes in the REIT's performance. But alas, there are many things that can negatively affect the dividend yield. Operating expenses, management fee, interest rate, gaps between tenancies, and shareholder dilution. On the other hand, if these are well run by the S-REITs, they can positively affect the dividend yield too. Nevertheless, you still passively earn cash from it, eventually breaking even your principal investment. Now, if you want to know more about what I look for in buying S-REITs, do come find me in the next video. Bye bye!